Hey there. So, if you thought the Online Safety Act would only be affecting the UK, you'd be wrong. So, this is a new law being discussed in Mississippi, and let's take a look at Bluesky's response to the Mississippi Age Assurance Law, which is the same thing as the Online Safety Act's age verification law, claiming that it is all just to protect the kids. Now, I want to read this section here, which I think is a very important section. Mississippi's approach would fundamentally change how users access Bluesky. If you didn't know what Bluesky is, it's kind of like a Twitter alternative, you could say. So the Supreme Court's recent decision leaves us facing a hard reality. Comply with Mississippi's age assurance law and make every Mississippi Bluesky user hand over sensitive personal information and undergo age checks to access the site, or risk massive fines. Again, exactly how the UK government is handling age verification online. The law would also require us to identify and track which users are children, unlike our approach in other regions. We think this law creates challenges that go beyond its child safety goals and creates significant barriers that limit free speech and disproportionately harm smaller platforms and emerging technologies. And I do agree with Bluesky here. Unfortunately, the government is trying to normalize collecting that kind of sensitive data, like IDs, driver's licenses, selfies. All of that creates a huge privacy risk. Data breaches happen all the time, like the recent one from the dating app T, I believe it's called, which leaked tons of personal information about users, including IDs. And so there's a lot of potential here that this just might be the new norm with the internet. You have to identify yourself. As we move towards the future, more and more governments want to pass laws such as this. And because this isn't just a UK or Mississippi issue, when one region enforces strict rules, platforms often apply them everywhere. Think about cookie pop-ups or GDPR. They started in one place but spread globally. The same thing could happen here, which limits access to information and privacy for everyone. So that's why a lot of people turn to things like VPNs. Now, previously, you could argue that VPNs were, for the most part, useful only if you're in a censorship-heavy country, or if you're a normal country and you just want to access Netflix libraries from different countries. Like if a show is not available to you and you want to make it available, then you can make that happen with a VPN. Or maybe you're on public Wi-Fi and you just want to make sure your data is safe. At this point, if you're in the US, specifically Mississippi, and again, I'm sure similar laws will be rolling out in different states as well, not just in the US, but also in the European Union. And as they roll out, VPN use will become even more normalized. So, for example, if I'm in the UK, and I'm not, but I'm just going to simulate as if I'm in the UK, and I go to what is my IP address, so whatismyip.com, you'll see that it shows that I'm now in the UK. And this is exactly what a VPN does. It essentially changes your virtual location so that if, let's say, I went to Netflix, or I went to YouTube, or I went to Discord, or a subreddit that I'm supposed to verify my ID in order to access, well, with a VPN, I don't really have to do that anymore, and I can just connect to a country like the Netherlands, for example, where none of these rules exist. I'll give it a refresh and it'll think I'm now in the Netherlands. And it's the same thing with all the other platforms that are not available. If there's a service that is asking for age verification, then you're probably in a region where age verification is required by the government. So you can just connect to a region where that is not required, and you can avoid all types of age verification. I think at this point, Bluesky is just offline in Mississippi for now. As you can tell right here, if you access Bluesky from Mississippi IP address, you'll see a message explaining why the app is not available. This block will remain in place while the courts decide whether the law will stand. So whether you're trying to access, again, Bluesky, if it's not available because you're in Mississippi, or you want to access other websites that are not available to you, or you want to avoid age verification because you're required to verify your age by handing over your ID, and you don't want to do that, again, you can just avoid that by connecting to a location that has none of these laws, and you want to use a good VPN for that. I wouldn't really recommend a free VPN if you're really set on using a free VPN, you can go with something like Proton VPN. But this is the paid version that you're seeing. The reason I recommend the free version with Proton VPN is that it has no data cap and it's verified as far as the no logs policy. So a no logs policy is when a VPN promises to not record your information and hand it over to third parties. And VPNs like Proton or Express not only have a strict no logs policy, so they promise to not collect it, but they also have proof that they truly don't collect any of your information because they have that evidence in the form of independent audit reports where auditing companies examine the networks and the claims of the privacy policy of the company in question. In this case, it would be Express or Proton. There's a couple of other VPNs like Nord and Surfshark, and they also have a strict no logs policy, and they do work for avoiding age verification. So if you're not sure how this looks, I'm just going to give you one demonstration very quickly. So if I am in the UK, right? Again, I'm not in the UK, but I have to simulate as if I'm in the UK. And I go to the, I don't know, I remember the one that was banned. It's not even an explicit site. It's the UK beer Reddit, right? Something like that, UK beer. If I click this, it'll most likely ask for verification. And if I click verify, you'll see that it takes me to the persona page here, which is the company that is collecting information on behalf of the UK government. And they have a horrendous privacy policy. So let's just say I'm in the UK and I'm getting this prompt right here and they're asking me to hand over my ID. There's no way I'm doing that. I'm just gonna pull up a VPN and I'm gonna connect to a country. This time, let's just do something else. Let's just do, well, not Mississippi, right? We'll go with Dallas. And the moment I'm connected to the VPN, I can just give it a refresh. And you'll see that the prompt now goes away and I can access the subreddit as if there are no age verification laws whatsoever. Because again, there are no age verification laws, at least as of now, in Dallas, Texas, that prevent me from accessing a beer subreddit. Okay, so that'll be it for this video. I just wanted to quickly shine some light on the new Mississippi law, which again, hopefully it doesn't spread all over the states, but at this rate, it really does seem like these kinds of laws will become more and more popular. So that'll be it for this video. As far as recommendations for VPNs, again, I like to use ExpressVPN, personally speaking. If you're looking for a free version of a VPN, you can go with Proton, but again, free version is great because it's not going to record and share your information, and there's no data cap, so you can use it as much as you want, but the speeds will be naturally congested because everybody and their mother is using the free servers with Proton VPN, especially after the Online Safety Act. So the free servers are going to be slow, and you don't have the freedom to jump between any country you want. I think there's only just a few countries at hand with a free version. So again, it's not necessarily going to be the smoothest experience, but it's still much better than any other free VPN. I really don't recommend using free VPNs in general. So if you were going to use one, use Proton, and the paid version of Proton is also a very reliable VPN. But again, I personally just prefer Express. Either way, I'll throw all the links in the description in case you want to pick any of those up. It'll give you a little bit of a discount. So that'll be it for this one. Again, thanks so much for watching. And if you do have any comments, feel free to drop them in the comments below, as I love getting to answer as many of those as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.